Hey guys, it's Katie, and oh, I'm so excited for today's video. You already know I overthink everything. I think a lot. I think especially a lot about relationships. You guys, if you've been following me for a while, will know that ever since I started college, I was desperate for friends. Like I was looking for friends because, I mean, it makes sense, right? I was an international student from the Philippines, so going into college, I didn't know anybody. Also was in a new country, navigating a new culture, so it was a lot happening at once, and I really just wanted a support system. Little did I know how different my community would look from first year to the end of university as I'm now a senior in college. I've done the in-person friend thing, I've done the online person friend thing, I've done the hybrid, like I think I can cover a whole spectrum. And so I really wanted to do this video also because I just talk about this so much with my friends that why not bring you along in this? So in this video, I am going to tell you about the different kinds of people you meet in college. I'll tell you about the typical progression, and by typical I mean like my progression, so that it's like in by no means representative. I'll also tell you how that evolved over a time as I changed as a person, and you will probably find yourself changing as a person too in university. Also just some tips on making friends, seeing what is best for you. And the next video we'll talk about how to maintain friendships and avoid being sad and lonely in college, because it's a very real thing, even for people who look like they're super happy and have a lot of friends. Okay, see where this is going? Okay, let's start. The first person you meet is the a-week friend. This friend is the person you meet in one of the first few weeks of school, and you just cling on to them because you just need a friend. You're like, you standing there alone, we're friends. Because as a new student in a school, you just need someone. Like, you don't have your old support system, so you're just looking for someone. It forms very superficially, in my opinion, because it's out of convenience. You're right there, but also because of urgency, because you're like, I need friends. Generally, these are very surface level friendships because they're just, in my eyes, like temporary friendships that you have to just get you, to just keep you afloat. Good for you if they continue, but most of the times in my experience, I find a lot of people don't have the same friends as they did during a week or orientation week or whatever you call your first few weeks of school, where you meet a lot of people because of all the events. The danger here is that they aren't really built on anything that lasts. It's very, like, don't be surprised if, you know, over time they fade and they're not your friend group. You know, in light of this, I still have a tip, and that's to make the most of it and meet as many people as you can through it, because the beauty of this time in a week is because everyone is trying to make friends. Everyone is the most open they will ever be to make friends. Granted, they are not very deep friendships at the present state, but the more people you meet, the more likely you will find people with potential. And then these friends you can really reach out to, get their social media, get some way of keeping in touch with them so that you don't lose them, because man, it is so easy to lose touch with people in college. There's some people I have met in a week and I never saw them again, but because I have their Instagram and I have their numbers, I was able to keep in touch with them. So literally, especially if you go to a big school like at Cornell with an undergrad population of 14,000, when you meet someone, make sure that you have a way of keeping in touch. I talked more about this in my How to Make Friends video, which is the original video that started all of this, and actually it got a lot of views, and then it made me realize that a lot of people are thinking about this, and perfect because I think a lot about this. But yeah, trying to make the most of this a-week time, and don't be too bummed if they don't lead to anything. Of course, there is a huge spectrum of whether this works or not. For example, I know of one friend group that still hangs out with their a-week friend group, mostly because their a-week friend group was a party friend group, so naturally, like, they were all going to the same parties anyway, so might as well just form a group, right? And they continued it over the 4 years, and so they still have that group. It's not necessarily their main friend group, but it is still one of their friend groups. And that's another thing you'll learn in college, is you can have different friend groups. You can be a floater going to different ones. You can have very deep friendships. There's so many ways to mix and match it, which we'll talk about in another video. The second kind of person you'll meet is what I call the easy to hang with or proximity friends, because this is a recurring environment where you see these people again. What I mean by that, dorms. If you live in the same place, you are going to be seeing each other in the hallways, you're going to be bumping into each other in the lounge, in the kitchen, in the shared spaces. Classes. If you go to the same class, you're going to see the same faces over and over again. If you are in the same club, if you are in the same religious group, wherever you frequently, you will see these people. These, in my life, are the most common types of friendships I have. They're the people who keep you, they're the people you say hi to, you know, when you go to class and you're like, oh, hey, how are you, doing good? Yeah, you too. Yeah, we're all just lying, we're not doing good. Just kidding. But you know, they're just people you do small talk with, and nothing really deep has to come out of it, but it's really helpful to have because it makes your college experience just feel less lonely instantly because you recognize different faces, and that really makes a community feel a lot more homey. The only thing to keep in mind with this is don't count on them lasting beyond college. If you are friends with someone because they're in your dorm and you guys change dorms, what is your similarity? It's not there anymore. You're in a different living space. You're probably not going to keep up. Classes, I will say you have a better chance of seeing the person because if, let's say, you're a computer science major, you are probably taking the same sequence of courses, and so that is good because every year you take a new class, you see this person, you're like, oh great, we're still in the same sequence. Instantly you feel so much better because you know someone in the class, and you can study together to ask them about homework questions. Even having that is really, it's understated, but especially when you're a first year still finding your way around college, that is a huge relief to know that there is someone else in another class. And so I also encourage you to make these friendships, to be really friendly, to be really helpful and collaborative with your friends. They will remember it. And I want to say the only reason I know they fade is because of the pandemic. When we went online, I saw so many of my friends that I thought were like really close friends just not. And so in a way, it was kind of cool that junior year, it made me see, oh my gosh, if I stop college right now, these are the friendships that would last and these are the ones that aren't. And it made me, coming into this final year as a senior, be so much more intentional about keeping the friendships and showing those people in my life that they really matter to me. That leads to the third kind of friendship. These are literally like what I strive to have, and these are what I call deep friendships. These are the friends that you reach out to because you have some connection, you share a similar view on life, you share a similar vision for what you want to do, you reflect together, you can open up and tell them your worst fears. These are the people that in the pandemic I found myself reaching out to and still wanting to talk to. I found them reaching out to me, and that instantly solidified the friendship that we had, and it made me see, wow, this is not just a friendship that forms because we go to the same dining hall every day or you live across me. This is formed because we have a deeper connection. We both mutually see that we matter to each other, and so we want to continue this. What this looks like in my life in college is these are the people I see at least once a month. Okay, I know that sounds crazy. It's a whole spectrum, right? The frequency at which we meet is not at all a measure for how close we are, by the way, because I may see someone 3 times a week, but if we're not getting into, if we don't really talk about anything deeper that matters to us, we're just talking about the weather, it doesn't matter if this friendship, fades. I can talk to a stranger on the street about the weather. This person, even though they're really busy, we're both really busy, when we do get a chance to meet, we go so deep. We catch each other up on every important thing that has happened in our lives, and it literally just clicks. And I think the reality that I'm realizing is after college, a lot of friendships, deep friendships, are going to be this infrequent. If anything, they will become even less frequent, twice a year even. I mean, especially for me, if I'm gonna go back home to the Philippines in a whole different country, thousands of miles away from the States, I'm not gonna be seeing anybody in person. But the fact that you still try to meet and that you still text, you still talk, and you keep each other updated in their life, that alone speaks to how it is a deep friendship, because what's the alternative? You just let it go. Voila. Not voila. Bon voyage. I don't know. It's just gone, right? Look out for these people. I've literally journaled in my notebook, mapping out my friendship structure before. And if you guys want to try this activity, I recommend it. Write your name and then draw different circles for different communities you're in. So for me, that would be faith, rock climbing, information science, student grocery store that I work at. You map all these places or activities, and then you map the people around them. And after you look at it, look at where your closest friends are, bold them. I know it sounds it's a lot of overthinking, but I'm telling you, in college, I would have lost so many friends if I did not be very intentional about who I wanted to keep in my life. The same goes the other way, right? If another friend did not actively try to reach out to me and show that I was important to them, we would not be friends. Fourth kind is the professional. I'm not even sure if we call them friends or they're just professional acquaintances or they're just LinkedIn network connections. That is the fact, is I have met many people who are just friends because they want to coffee chat me, they want to pick my brain on certain things, they want advice, and you know, that's okay. Like, there is really no shade to it. They're not the people I will gravitate toward, but professional friends are really important in college too, because a lot of people are trying to find a job. That is the reality of it. A lot of people are trying to navigate college, and sometimes the best way is to just have a professional relationship. It doesn't mean you can't open up about other things or you can't, you know, be kind, like you have to be super robotic and like this is strictly a coffee chat, because I know of friendships that have started from coffee chats and then become something more. But I'm saying there is a different role for each relationship you have in your life, and a professional one can be a good one too. I personally have come a long way in this, because at first I was like, like very networky vibes, a bit like you just want something from me, I just want something from you vibe, and I was like, I don't want anything to do with it. But then I've recently come around and just realized like it doesn't have to be tit for tat. Obviously, some people will tit for tat, some people will only hit up my inbox or like messages when they need something. But there can be other good relationships that come out of it. People can go on and start clubs or startups together, or people can make a connection that helps someone find a job or helps someone get a referral to get into their dream company. And so if you need that in your life, you should really make the most of having professional friendships. University is it's so rich with so many people in so many different industries. You also have a whole network of professors that you can reach out to. My only advice for this is to just try to be as genuine as you can. You know you're taking up someone's time, you know you want something from them. Just try to be like gracious with it. Show a lot of gratitude. One thing I really like also saying is, if I ask someone for something like this, I like to offer at the end, if there's anything I can do to help you, then please let me know. It's not tit for tat in that like somebody asked me for something and so I'm expecting to be able to reclaim this like favor at, you know, the future. Like, I don't think like that. But for me at least, if I ask someone for a favor, I want them to know that they can ask me of that too. And it doesn't mean I have to do it, you know, you're not obligated, also you're not tied to it, but if there is a way that you think you can help them, do it. Mentorship is another really good thing that comes out of this, and the cool thing is a lot of people also like mentoring people. People are just kind. Also, people just like giving back their knowledge, especially when I was the first year. I would sign up for a lot of clubs. I would have mentorship programs. I would learn so much about classes that I really stressed about, and a lot of upperclassmen would tell me, oh, you should take this class, you should do this with this professor, blah blah blah, and I got to get a lot of advice that I otherwise wouldn't have because I just had no knowledge. After that, I'm now a senior, right? And I find that I want to mentor people. I genuinely do, because I see so many. I talk to some sophomores and I talk to some first years and I'm like, wow, I have learned a lot in these 4 years, and I've learned a lot because of the upperclassmen who poured into me. And so I want to extend that and continue spreading that love and helping other people in hopes that we can get a supportive community at Cornell going. Be a generous person. In a school or environment that already demands so much of you, it really shows and people really notice when you are kind and you choose to go above and beyond, because we all know that it takes away from your time to help review someone's application or go on a coffee chat with them. So do it. Do it. And the last one is a dating relationship. A lot of people develop intimacy with people in college, whether that's emotional, physical, spiritual. Some people find their booze in college. Some people get their hearts broken in college. Some people discover their sexuality in college. There is a huge spectrum of experiences here. The only tip I have is don't date as a first year. Definitely do not date someone who you meet in orientation week just because you're infatuated. Of course, it's up to you. If you can have a healthy relationship with someone, great for you. You are miles more mature than I would have ever been. But I will say, from what I have heard and what I have seen in my 4 years of being in college, is a lot of people who date in a week break up very soon after. It's very hurtful for them because people just jump into it so fast, they get intimate so quickly, and then one person in that relationship is like, I actually don't want this. The other person is absolutely heartbroken, and not only are they heartbroken, but they do not have a community of friends because they spent all their time with that person. That is my caution, is try to find a support system first. Like, if you want, like, yeah, you can date someone, and you can also, you know, be exploring other communities and making sure you have other friends too who you can rely on if should you guys break up. But from what I see, a lot of people are just so excited in college and just rush into relationships. That's the only friendship they make, and so they get really, really hurt after, because a year after dating, they go their separate ways, the person is heartbroken, and they're like, who do I go to? I have nobody. And they feel so lonely and so down. And while they have been stuck in this relationship, other people have made so much progress with expanding their friend circles, with finding people from different pockets of campus. And it's really, really tough, is what I'm saying. Obviously, there are a lot of benefits and there's a lot of joys that comes with being in a relationship, but just like first year, and a lot of times people are not going to be able to tell when it becomes unhealthy, especially because you don't have friends who can tell you when this person is treating you badly. And I'm seeing this because I've seen so many friends go through such bad relationships, and they always say they regret dating. It makes me think I do not regret not dating. That is my little college friendship 101 guide. I hope it's helpful. If you guys have your own tips, if you disagree with me, that's totally cool. I would love to hear your thoughts. If there's any other kind of friendship you have that I didn't cover, please share it. I'm all ears. I know we all have different experiences, so, you know, take it with a grain of salt that this has been my experience. I really hope you find amazing people in your life who you can trust, who love you for who you are, and make you a better person. Make sure to subscribe, because next week we'll talk about how to maintain these friendships, you know, what the different balances of, like, are you a floater friend or a friend group friend, or are you going more for a breadth of friendships right now, or depth in friendships? We'll talk all about that in the next video because I have so much to say about it. I hope you are staying healthy. I love you guys so much. Bye!